Has it ever occurred to you that a concert is not just a place where music is played, but also an altar where long-hidden hopes, longs and wounds are sanctified with light, sound, and tears? Jimin and Jungkook's inaugural concert night in Los Angeles wasn't just about the music. He becomes a silent witness of two souls who never give up, two friends who were once separated by time and destiny, now standing together on the biggest stage of their lives. Not just one stage physically, but a spiritual stage, an emotional stage, a stage that burns the world in silence and reverberation. At 18:30 local time, the stadium was full to the maximum. Not only full of capacity, but full of love. More than 90,000 pairs of eyes stared at the same point with bated breath. Then, in the sudden darkness, a soft piano sound began to flow. An instant later, Jimin's voice appeared, just one short verse, but enough to make thousands of people cry even before the lights were fully turned on. Shortly after, Jungkook emerged from the backstage. He does not jump, does not run. He just walked, slowly, down a hallway filled with white mist and a tinge of purple. When the two artists met in the middle of the stage, the world seemed to stop. There is no sound other than music and the cries of the audience that can no longer be contained. They didn't say a word. No need. Because every movement of their bodies, every vibration of their voices, has explained everything about the lost time, about the struggle during the draft, about the longing for the fans that is too deep to describe with ordinary language. Their first song was titled "Promise Me Again," an emotional ballad that had never been released before. The song tells the story of two people who had walked away due to circumstances, but always felt there was an unbroken thread connecting them. The lyrics, partly written by Jimin himself, seem to touch directly the deepest side of every fan who has been waiting for this moment for years. Although the world changes color, you are still my same sky. The promise never dies. It just falls asleep waiting for you to come home. In the third verse, the stage camera accidentally captures Jungkook's slightly downcast face. At that moment, some of the spectators who were close to the stage noticed that their eyes began to glaze over. He tried to wipe quickly, but Jimin, who was standing next to him, calmly grabbed his hand, a touch that left the entire stadium speechless in amazement. None of the official cameras of the concert repeated the moment on the big screen. But the world knows. Fans know. Those who are there record it, feel it, store it in their emotional memory. The tears were not captured on professional cameras, but they were captured by the hearts of thousands of people who knew that this was not just another concert. It is a reunion between souls who were once tired, but never gave up. After the song was over, the two of them just stood there. Jimin stared at the ceiling of the stadium, then smiled slowly before speaking. His words, though brief, struck the heart of anyone who heard them that night. "We're back, and we won't leave again without a good reason." The audience cheered. But it wasn't just the usual cheers. It was the cry of souls who once felt loss, who once wondered if that hope would ever really come. And that night, they didn't just get an answer. They get hugs, through songs, through looks, through sweat and tears on stage. The concert continued with songs full of energy. But the highlight of the evening still fell on two things: chemistry that can't be made up, and emotional moments that don't even need media exposure to be lasting. Fans from outside the stadium, who watched via streaming, also felt the same emotional pressure. On Twitter, the hashtag Jimin Jungkook reunion reached more than 16 million tweets in just 2 hours. More poignantly, after the concert, one of the backstage staff leaked that when the lights went out and the big screen started showing the end credits of the concert, Jimin and Jungkook hugged each other tightly for almost a minute. No words, just hugs. Staff said it was a hug from two men who knew how hard the journey was, but still chose to walk together. Is it possible for two artists to shake up the global industrial supply chain just because of concerts and endorsement campaigns? Is it possible that the names of Jimin and Jungkook that we once knew as the Magne line have now turned into a more powerful global economic entity than anyone could have imagined? What exactly happened until HYBE, the largest entertainment company in South Korea, was completely overwhelmed and forced to recruit more than 500 new staff in just 9 days? For some people, a concert is a purely entertainment affair. But for the economists who are now quietly watching BTS move this unit, their debut concert in Los Angeles is more than just a show. It's a trigger. It was a boom. It is a domino effect that subverts predictions and business models that have been believed to be established. In the first 72 hours after the 2 of US concert was officially announced, ticket sales in 5 cities immediately sold out. But what made the corporate world really unprepared was what happened after. Thousands of companies from various sectors immediately vied to reach HYBE. They don't just want to advertise, they want to be in the orbit of Jimin and Jungkook, a phrase now used in entertainment industry analysis reports. One economic analyst calls this phenomenon the artistic economic catalyst, which is when the power of pop culture not only makes money, but radically changes the direction of the global economy and consumer behavior. What we see from Jimin and Jungkook today is no different from the effect Apple had when it released the first iPhone. It's more than branding. It's a cross-cultural influence, he said in an interview that went viral on social media. And HYBE? They were really shocked. In an internal report leaked to Korean media, it was noted that since the global tour was announced, HYBE received more than 4,000 requests for cooperation in a week, both for promotions, concert sponsorship, exclusive merchandise, video advertising, to requests for personal appearances at non-commercial events such as international cultural forums and charity gala. Of these, 61% came from outside Asia. The rest are spread from Europe, the Middle East, to Africa. One kingdom in the Arabian Gulf region reportedly offered Jimin and Jungkook a multi-year cooperation project worth more than $70 million just to perform at their annual cultural festival. This situation forced HYBE to form a new division called Global Response Team, JJK and PJM Unit, headed by one of their most senior executives. The division works 24 hours, with shift systems and the latest AI technology to sift through thousands of incoming proposals every day. One staff member said they had to run a 24-hour office because their clients were from 27 countries and spoke 15 different languages. Not only that, HYBE even had to ask for consultations from international law firms and cybersecurity companies to ensure that all endorsement contract processes run quickly but remain secure. Some big companies even tried to approach Jimin and Jungkook directly through state representatives, which ended up creating subtle diplomatic pressure behind the scenes. But even though everything seems incredible from the outside, behind the scenes, HYBE's condition is approaching the limit point. Some employees reportedly worked as long as 18 hours a day. Even the CEO himself descended directly into the negotiation room to set the Golden Duo's schedule. One insider said, "We're used to BTS effect, but this one is different. Here's shock. Our servers are down 3 times a week." But the most touching was what happened after the concert. On forums like Weverse, Twitter, X, and even Reddit, hundreds of thousands of fans wrote tearful posts about how Jimin and Jungkook's presence had saved them in difficult times. A Brazilian user wrote, "I almost gave up last year, but Jimin's song made me get up again. Now that he and Jungkook are standing together, it feels like I'm standing too." Is there a greater power than this kind of love? Is there a power purer than hope that never dies, even though the world is constantly changing?